What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode with your boy Phrankleen. Welcome to Storytime. This is your first time landing on my video. Thank you for stopping by. I'm the brain behind this platform, and I talk about pretty eclectic topics that span across everyday life, okay? These episodes is sponsored by Sendwave. Sendwave is basically an app that you can download within the two shakes of a duck still in your respective mobile devices, be it Android or iPhone, okay? It allows you to send money from Italy, Spain, Ireland, United Kingdom, United States to Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania within the two shakes of a duck still on your mobile devices, okay? If you use my promo code Phrankleen, you get £5, $5, and or €5 added to your very first Sendwave transaction, and you can share that promo code. It's limitless with your friends and or families, okay? And there is no added commission. Your details are kept safe. It's reliable. Within few minutes, as soon as you authorize the transaction, the money would land into the relevant bank account in Africa, okay? That's that. So today I got an email from this lady who basically said, Phrankleen, I'd love to share my story with you, talking about how girls are deemed or women are deemed, worthless within the African community or society. So I'm going to read out to you her story, and then at the end I'll tell you, what I think. So case in point, said my family, it's basically about her family. Said my siblings consist of all girls and a boy. Said my parents split when we were young. All the girls ended up going abroad for studies, and my brother decided to stay back home with father and his relatives. In staying back, he was extremely spoon-fed and babied. As in babied means it was pampered and spoiled rotten. So he's in his mid-30s as we speak, and he has still, really been struggling to keep up with any steady job, career path, and or money. So the girls ended up tackling the typical diaspora life, working, paying fees, building careers, and doing the rest from scratch. Big up, ladies. I recently returned to Africa for a study break and to be closer to my paternal family, and I couldn't believe how backward and dysfunctional they all are. My father is well-to-do, has quite some land, properties, and apartments. Since I thought we had formed a decent rapport, I started asking him questions I thought were pertinent. This is especially because he also has a step family. The questions were the typical, does he have a will? Is it with a lawyer? Would he be stating clearly what belongs to who? Would the girls be getting anything, and such like that, right? We are definitely not all sitting waiting for his grand gifting of wealth and property. We just thought it wise to handle the conversation now, which there is nothing wrong with that, so as to avoid the constant fighting families get into when a father passes away. Father dodged the questions endlessly. However, while he wouldn't say anything about the girls, he volunteered some information one day and willingly mentioned he wants to give the entire block of his apartments to our brother, who's the only male. The fact that he would blatantly dodge some questions and instead, volunteer some information was our answer as the girls. We stopped asking, bothering, and even hoping for anything. We resolved to move on with our lives, chase our dreams, and create our own wealth and success. Because clearly, whatever he does decide to give us, if it does, will be just breadcrumbs. We even told him, should he pass away without a will, the brother and step-family can have it all. We won't disrespect ourselves to stoop so low to go and fight for property when he could have avoided it all. To do nothing in terms of a will when he's alive and lucid is just selfish. We told him that too. There's another aspect. So apparently in our culture, ladies over 21-year-old cannot be buried in the father's home. Single, married, it doesn't matter. The father's family wouldn't claim the girls. My sister and I find this so laughable. And it's yet another reason that confirms to us that we just need to create the best lives and successes for ourselves, especially with new people who would surely in both our lives and death claim and honor us. No need to cast our pearls upon swines. We keep it moving. Also, we would rather go where we are celebrated and not tolerated. That's a powerful statement. Meanwhile, our brother has been publicly labeled amongst the father's extended families and friends as their heir apparent and prince. He's just waiting to inherit everything. What do you think? Any thoughts? Right. So this email came in, and the lady wants to know my thoughts. She'd like me to, share this with you guys. Right. So, first of all, she didn't specify which particular, country this occurred in. It's totally relevant in this context, but I know it's in Africa. Now, the entirety of this is very simple. Okay, it's deeply rooted in misogyny, patriarchy, and these are the things, like I keep saying, this is toxic culture that people have adopted, and people keep on peddling and keep saying, oh, it's our culture, it's culture. It's not culture. And if you want to use culture, like I said, it's toxic culture, which we need to detach ourselves and separate ourselves and completely abandon, wash them down the drain, and never, allow them to revolve around our lives. Now, there is one thing that I know from a Nigerian perspective. I'm a Yoruba man by roots. Now, there's also a similar practice. Unfortunately, this one that I know very well, within families, right? Even if the female is a firstborn, right, and then the only boy, right? Let's say the man had 4 children and he had 3 girls, first, second, and third born, and the last born is a boy, right? They tend to put the boy over all of the females because there is this toxic reasoning in terms of, oh, you ladies are going to get married to a man anyway. You're going to go to another man, go get married to a man. You're going to pick up the man's surname, and basically they believe that because you're female, as soon as you branch out to go marry, the cycle of pushing the family name and be at the forefront of affairs stops right there. So they look at the man as an appropriate extension of the family, if that makes sense. So therefore, they use this as a very evil, justifiable reason for these type of actions, like this lady has outlined. So when you're talking to your father about, oh, Dad, do you have any will, with a lawyer? It's not like they're trying to unscrupulously gain access to their father's will or anything like that. I think these are sensible questions to ask, and I'm sure any sensible parent would know which one of their children is a lazy bone or which one of their children is basically just trying to get their claws into their assets and stuff. But if I'm a grown man, I can sit down and have a similar conversation with my parents about their assets, if they've got any, and say, okay, where's your will, or what lawyers are you using? Because should you pass away tomorrow, okay, and sometimes there is no notification, natural death. You might say good night last night and then not wake up tomorrow. And just so I know that, oh, my father has X number of shares with his bank, or has that bonds over there, has this parcel of land there, has this building over there. Oh, this is the law firm that's handling the will, so that things can be done properly when it comes to wills and inheritances and all that. Again, the application of toxic culture is when you find all these ruthless so-called family members, uncles and aunties. Everybody's there for their own selfish interest. So they would sideline the women, they would oppress them. Even if there are boys involved, right? If your moms are not strong enough, they don't have backings, or maybe their own family or any other like lawyers and all that stuff. Some families are ruthless. They would do anything and everything to make sure they cut you short and to hijack the wealth. This happens a lot in a family, in a situation where the man, does not put his affairs in order. You know, things are not properly handled and stuff. It's lack of trust. It's a misogynistic, you know, view whereby I know families where the man actually tried during his existence, whereby he owned, you know, a couple of lands, he's built 1 or 2 properties, he has 1 or 2 businesses, but simply because the wife had no idea, he didn't let her know anything, he hid everything from her, it was just all messed up. It opened, you know, an avenue for the family to take advantage, and they hijacked everything. And before you know it, the woman ended up in the streets with 3 children, abandoned. Believe me, man, she ended up, this is just one out of plethora of stories. The woman ended up sleeping in churches, sleeping rough, begging to feed her children, couldn't send them to school. This is from someone who was living in a house built by her husband. You know, the evil families, you know, took over everything, the cars, the businesses. And if you don't put your affairs in order, is what I'm saying, it happens that way. But back to my main point, which is it's a very, very bad, ill, toxic, you know, treatment. And to blatantly show favoritism, you know, with your children, and, you know, basically saying, oh, the boy is going to get this and you don't get that, and all that stuff. Again, what that does, it leaves an eternal crack, you know, between those children, because you're going to die and go, and the rest of their lives they'll be separated. There'll be animosity, there'll be differences, there'll be toxicity, you know, because, you know, you just got everything, we're treated less favorably just because we're ladies. So I think we should do better. We should try to unlearn and detach ourselves from this toxic culture. It's really simple, unfortunately. But what I really love and cherish about this email is the fact that this lady and her sisters, you know, who's written this email, has already developed a boss mentality, and she's the type of person who's already, even though, yeah, it hurts, but you've gone in the direction of creating your own wealth and you know, building and striving and making your own money, and not waiting for a father who has a toxic mentality, hoping that he gives you something, and then you might end up being disappointed. So learn from it, and I hope you do better with your own lives, and I wish you all the best. What do you guys think, man? Let's keep the conversation going on below. I'm of the opinion that toxic culture needs to be brought to an end. It's very bad. Female, you know, children, or, you know, your daughters should not be treated less favorably just because they're females, just because, oh, they're not men and all that. It's a very, very deeply rooted toxic culture in our society. There are still families in Africa where if they want to discuss, have a family meeting, they'll ask the women to step out of the room. Believe me, man, you know, they believe, oh, men, even though those men might have chicken brains, but just because they are men, they've got balls dangling between their legs, they have the right to obliterate the woman. It's what I normally say. Sometimes I say them jokingly. The idea of believing that a kitchen is a woman's apartment, you know, it's all this toxic culture that a lot of us, misogynistic views of life, a lot of us have been raised with, knowingly and unknowingly, okay, which is really, really bad, but I'm hoping that as life goes on, the new generation will start to unlearn some of these things. It's your boy Phrankleen. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. What do you think? You as a parent, if you've got daughters and you've got a son, would you treat your daughters less favorably just because they're females? Would you put your son over your daughters? Would you? What do you think about the idea of favoritism, you know, in terms of how you treat your children and stuff like that? Is it fair? Is it a good thing? Let's keep that conversation going on below. It's your boy Phrankleen. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to download Sendwave. And you can support my channel via Patreon. There's a link in the description for just $5 a month and $10 a month, whatever floats your boat, via PayPal, via Cash App. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace and love. Bye now.